Interesting. I was watching a show. Me and my wife. Sometimes we watch comedy TV shows together, and we were watching a show, and there was a girl on there. One of the characters, she was going through a breakup, and her friend was helping her get the revelation. Hey, thanks, I appreciate that. Her friend was helping her get the revelation that every time she gets in a relationship, she starts to take on the identity of the guy that she's in the relationship with. And she had all of these boxes. So one box was all the athletic stuff that the boyfriend that she had that was really into exercising and athletics. And then she had another box when she went through her grunge phase, because one of her boyfriends was in a band. And so she had her grunge stuff. And then there was another phase where she went through her cowboy phase, where she was dating somebody who was really into the cowboy stuff. And so, and they did it in a comical way, but it really reminded me how important it is for us to shape our own identity outside of any kind of relationship or romance. I'm going to tell you the reason why breakups are so hard for some. Because for some people, they don't know how to differentiate being in a relationship and loving someone from basing their identity and their significance on someone. And so when they lose their own personal identity, they lose their own personal significance, and they start basing it on the person that they're with, what happens is when that person that they are with goes away, they break up, things go bad, people go their separate ways, then literally what they were founded on and the significance that they felt they had has now been taken away. Imagine if you live in a home with a basement. Imagine the basement and the entire foundation being removed from a house. The house would crumble. You would have all these problems, right? All these structural issues, stuff would go crazy, right? And sometimes it seems like that's how things are going for some of us, or for those of you all who have ever gone through a breakup and it really just took a toll on you. It feels like everything is crumbling, everything is shifting. And I'm here to let you know that part of the reason why that might be happening is because you might have based some of your identity, who you are, in the other person. And what is the identity? Who you really are, what you stand for, your core beliefs, your values, what's important to you. And sometimes we don't know it, but we'll even get in a relationship and change our values, our core values, to adopt somebody else's in order to make the relationship and the romance work. Has anybody ever been there? I mean, hit me with some emojis if you've ever been there. I've been there, that I've started to divorce some of my my morals, my standards, some of the things that I knew were so true for me, because I wanted the romance to work. And so I started to adopt the identity of this girl I'm with, and then we break up, things go bad, and now I'm all broken, I'm all hurt, man, what just happened? Because the identity I was starting to adopt has now been erased, and the person who I was adopting to has now been removed. And so it's kind of like now something has been removed that was a part of you, and now it hurts. And so what happens is we have to make sure that we found our identity, who we really are, our core beliefs. We have to be founded on something that can never be taken away. And you should never found your identity or base your identity on someone else, especially as you're going and pursuing a romantic relationship. I truly believe that your identity is best founded on and based on God, and somebody, God being a God who is never going to be removable, who is never going to leave me, never going to forsake me, who knows all about me, who made me, who designed me. That's who I'm basing my identity on. And sometimes I feel bad for the nice guys out there. I'm happily married, almost 8 years happily married, and I love my wife. She's awesome. But even still married, I've learned that I have to base my identity in God and on God. And I can't base my identity on my wife, even though I love her so much and we're so interconnected and interwoven. But still, I have to base my identity on God first. That has to be my first priority. And so, if you're a guy out there, and like I said, I understand, because I remember my first serious relationship in high school. I'm just a nice guy, who found somebody who I really love and care about, and I found myself basing my identity on them and finding my self-worth in them. And when the relationship started to go away, it was devastating for me. I didn't know how to take that. And even in the relationship, I made a lot of compromises and started to lay down just about who I was instead of being bold about who I was. And I, sometimes I feel like I was just getting walked on. And, hey, my nice guys out there, if you're with me, hit me with an emoji if you know what I'm saying. Because sometimes it can be challenging. And like I said, I feel for my nice guys because sometimes they'll get taken advantage of. And this, this might be for girls too. You really have a good heart and a heart to really love and serve and just be loved. And people want to take advantage of you and they want to try to manipulate you into becoming who they are. But I'm here to say, don't settle for that. You're better than that. You don't have to be like them to be accepted by them. If they can't accept you for who you are, what you stand for, your core beliefs, your core values, who you really are, then they're not worth your time. And why would you want to change yourself so they'll like you? Because if they didn't like who you were in the first place to accept you enough to be with you, then they shouldn't want to accept you after you change. Because, if you change, then that's not the real you anyway. And so, I really believe that it's important to base who you are on something that's never changing. I believe it's important to base yourself on God, on who God made you. Surround yourself with good people who will correct you in love, but affirm who you really are. The thing I love about my wife so much is I can be my complete true self around her, and she loves it, and she loves me for it, and she affirms who I am, not just the person who she can make me into, but the person who I am and the person who God is helping me become. And so I hope that encourages you. And if you're in a relationship, just know that they should accept you for who you are, and don't find your value and self-worth just solely on how they feel about you, how they think about you. Because if your identity is founded upon them, then when you break up with them, you're going to be finding yourself in crisis. I really believe that is why, part of the reason why people seem to sometimes go crazy when they break up with a person, a boyfriend, girlfriend, because their identity has now been stripped away. Anybody whose identity is stripped away, you're going to start short-circuiting. It's just human nature. I don't even blame people. It's human nature. You're going to start short-circuiting because you don't know who you are anymore. So now you're searching for something to hold on to. But I really believe that that's not going to be you, because you know the importance of who you are and who God has made you. So